The Oak Tree Queen, as told by Elzevir and Hazelbop, the wise wizards of Fletcher.
Once upon a time, there was a little girl named Madden.
Actually, she wasn't really such a little girl. She was 4 years old. She was pretty big.
Okay, once there was this really grown-up 4-year-old girl named Madden. She lived in the magical kingdom of Fletcher with her mom and her dad and her little brother.
And also a dog and some cats.
Right.
And maybe even some chickens.
Hazelbop, stop interrupting. We're never going to get to the story.
Sorry, Elzevir.
Okay, where was I? Oh, right. So, Madden lived with her family in the kingdom of Fletcher, in a beautiful house surrounded by green, leafy woods.
One day she was playing in the grass outside her house when suddenly a fawn trotted out of the forest. It came right up to Madden, who was playing with her dolls on the grass, and it set something down in front of her. What do you think it was?
A message of some sort?
Exactly. Fawns are very shy and rarely approach 4-year-old girls on their own, but when they do, it's always to deliver an important message. And here's what the message said.
Dear Madden, we, the forest creatures of the kingdom of Fletcher, are calling for your help. Our queen, Sylvina, the great gray oak, has become very sad, and we can do nothing to cheer her up. We sent for jesters and magicians and jugglers and clowns, but none of them lightened her mood. We implore you to help us. We have all heard tell of your delightful wit. Please try to make Sylvina smile again. You will find her in a castle at the highest point of the hill.
And with this, the fawn trotted off into the forest again.
Madden was very surprised to receive this message, but she was also a very brave and funny and clever girl, and was determined to try to do as the fawn had asked.
So she went in search of the castle at the top of the hill.
Of course, she got permission from her mom and dad first.
Of course. So off she went, into the forest and up the hill.
As she walked along, she practiced her best jokes. She practiced her funny faces. She thought about the hilarious stories she could tell Queen Sylvina.
She walked and walked until she thought she couldn't walk any more. And just then she saw through the leaves, spreading before her, the castle of Queen Sylvina.
It was a beautiful castle with many golden towers and turrets. Long silver vines were snaking up the walls, and lush green emerald moss was blanketing their stones. The whole castle was encircled by a moat, and the moat was full of slow floating crocodiles.
Let's draw a picture of Sylvina's castle. Then we'll come back to the story and see what Madden did next.
Now, Madden felt a little nervous as she approached the castle gates. There was such a gloomy feeling in the air. The massive windows were shuttered tight, and the badgers and beavers, whose job it was to guard the front gates, looked quite melancholy. Everything seemed so sad. Even the crocodiles in the moat were weeping their crocodile tears.
As soon as they saw her, the badger and beaver guards stopped sniffling and snapped to attention. Welcome to the castle of Sylvina, the great gray oak. We have long awaited your arrival, Madden. You are our last hope. As they said this, they lowered the drawbridge so that Madden could traverse the moat and enter the hall.
Madden felt even more nervous as she crossed into the castle. What if she couldn't make Queen Sylvina smile? What would happen to her then? Would she be allowed to leave? Those crocodiles were looking kind of hungry.
Sad crocodiles are the hungriest.
Very true. So Madden crossed through the entrance and into the great gray hall. It was a room so beautiful she could hardly believe it. The walls were of gray stone, but festooned with flowering vines and hung with luxurious green moss. But the room was strangely quiet. Madden could hear her footsteps echo as she approached the throne.
And then she spotted Queen Sylvina, not in her throne, but standing in the corner with branches raised to her face. No other human had ever seen her before. She was a tall, lovely gray oak queen with a crown of acorns and a robe of moss. Just then Sylvina spoke.
"Hello, Madden. I hear you have been summoned to make me smile. I fear we have wasted your time. No one can make me smile. I am the saddest queen in the world."
So Madden started in with a few of her best jokes. She told the one about the skunk who lost his toothbrush, and the one about the squirrel who forgot where she buried her nuts.
But the queen didn't look at all amused.
So then she told a hilarious story about an owl that mistook a sock for a mouse.
But the queen just buried her face further in her branches. This wasn't going well, Madden thought to herself.
She tried to tickle the queen. No good. The oak tree queen was not ticklish.
She made her funniest faces.
Did she stick out her tongue?
Yes, she did, and scrunched up her nose and closed one eye. But the queen just sighed and turned away.
And this is when Madden knew she was going to have to pull out all the stops. She turned to the badgers and the beavers and said, "Hit it, guys!"
Badgers and beavers are great musicians, which not many people know.
So they started drumming faster and faster, and the birds in the rafters, who had been so sad and silent, started singing, and the fawns in the forest even trotted into the hall and sang along in their sweet fawn voices. The bullfrogs in the ponds belched out their deep bass notes, and the sleepy owls in the treetops hooted in harmony with the mourning doves, who sang with wild gusto from every corner of the woods. Even the crocodiles in the moat opened up their huge jaws and snapped them shut in rhythm with the forest song.
Now the queen had lowered her branches from her face and was beginning to look interested, but she still had not smiled.
And now Madden starts to dance.
She whirls and she twirls and she bobs and she shakes and she spins like no one has ever seen before. And soon all the forest creatures are dancing along with her, and it's the biggest, baddest, craziest dance party that the Kingdom of Fletcher has ever seen.
And finally, Queen Sylvina widens her wooden mouth into an irrepressible grin. Seeing all that joy and dancing lifted her sadness away.
And Madden was so happy to see that she had ended her quest and fulfilled her mission and would be able to return to her own home in the woods.
To thank her, Queen Sylvina gave her a magical purple headband that would grant her even greater dancing powers.
And with that, Madden bid farewell to the queen, and the badgers, and the beavers, and the crocodiles, and the great gray castle, and went home to her family.
And she felt very pleased and very proud, and also very relieved to see her mom and her dad and her baby brother again.
The end.
But wait! Let's have a little dance party before we go. Shake it, Madden!